the fresh maker.
Now, if I didn't know any better, I'd say that you're looking at running for president again.
Do it. Do it. Look at me. Do it. I will personally write you a campaign check now on behalf of this country, which does not want you to be president, but which badly wants you to run.
I am officially running for President of the United States, and we are going to make our country great again.
There's not going to be a President Donald Trump.
I think that man will be President of the United States right about the time that spaceships come down filled with dinosaurs and red cake.
Donald Trump has been saying that he will run for president as a Republican, which is surprising since I just assumed he was running as a joke.
Donald Trump will not become president.
I continue to believe Mr. Trump will not be president.
Donald Trump will never, ever be president.
Moderator, but apparently believes that Donald Trump is a clown.
President Obama will go down as perhaps the worst president in the history of the United States! Exclamation point at real Donald Trump. Well, at real Donald Trump, at least I will go down as a president.
You're never going to be president of the United States by insulting your way to
Let's see, I'm at 42 and you're at 20.
We have a key race alert right now. Donald Trump now has reached the number of delegates needed to clinch the Republican presidential nomination.
So, right now, Mr. Trump, to answer your call for political honesty, I just want to say, you're not going to be president, all right? It's been fun. It's been great. I love you. But come on, buddy.
Donald Trump, while we project, will win in Kentucky with its 8th electoral vote, in Indiana with its 11th electoral vote, West Virginia, Florida, Tennessee, Mississippi, South Carolina, Alabama, Kansas with its 6 electoral votes, Nebraska with its 5 electoral votes, and Wyoming with its 3 electoral votes, North Dakota with its 3 electoral votes, and South Dakota, Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, the state of Montana, Missouri, Ohio, Idaho, North Carolina.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
Together, we will make America great again.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome into CobraCast 199. I am your host, D-Day Cobra, and we got a lot to talk about tonight. I almost went live earlier today because it did seem like we might actually get a verdict today in the hush money trial in New York, but we didn't, which is expected, and we're going to talk about that. But I ultimately have a prediction as to what I think is going to happen in this trial, and we'll get into that a little bit later. This is absolute nonsense that President Trump is caught up in this, but it doesn't really matter because no matter what ultimately happens, he's going to benefit from it. It just matters as to how much he's going to benefit. That's really the only question right now. He will benefit regardless, and they know that. But I'll give you my prediction as to what I think is going to happen a little bit later on. But first, good to see everybody here in the chat. Hello, Rumble. Hello, Kick. Hello, YouTube. And before we even get started today, Linko Kenobi has already dropped a MAGA red $100 super chat and says, "What's up, Jeremy? I'm almost done playing Metal Gear Solid. LOL. I'm going to buy Warhammer Space Marine 2 on PC. Talked about Dick Nero and saw Dan Bongino interview with Trump on Rumble. Taking a break, but I'll be back playing Metal Gear. Hail Cobra 199. Yeah, I just found out, and thank you, Linko Kenobi. I just found out about the Dan Bongino interview. So I think we're going to watch that. Dan Bongino just did an interview with President Trump right out of the court. This happened today, which is kind of crazy. And look, there's a lot of stuff going on right now. A lot of reports out there. It's pure chaos. online right now. It's pure chaos. Joe Biden is basically saying that the reason that him and cackling Kamala are president is because... Oh, wait, is my audio low? Oh, my God. Give me a minute. I'll fix the audio. Give me just a minute. Give me just a minute. Give me just a minute. I'll fix it. Give me just a second. Testing, testing, testing. All right. Is that good? Is that good? It was showing pretty low on my soundboard, so I think we're good now. So we should be okay. So let me know if we're good. But yeah, so there's a lot. But there's a pretty interesting story that happened, that broke today, that not a lot of people are talking about yet, and they should be talking about it. This is actually fucking huge news. And it's something I've been saying for a while that needed to happen. And it looks like it might just be happening, ladies and gentlemen, if these pop-ups on this website could stop. So this is from the New York Post, okay? This is a huge story. Trump considering White House advisory role for Elon Musk as they hold calls several times a month. Holy shit. This is massive, and this is what I've been saying for a while. These two guys need to join forces. These two guys need to join forces. Again, Trump considering White House advisory role for Elon Musk as they hold several calls several times a month. Now, let's read into this really quick. Former President Trump is considering appointing Elon Musk to help advise him in the White House after the pair patched their relationship in recent months. The 45th president has not ironed out all of the details, and a position might not materialize, the Wall Street Journal reported. But the two have been in talks about how the tech mogul could give formal input on issues like the border, the economy, and preventing voter fraud. Let's go. Their initial icy relationship has been thawing recently, and Musk, the world's third richest man, is now in direct phone contact with Trump. The pair talk several times a month, according to the outlet. Musk, alongside billionaire investor Nelson Peltz, has also spoken to Trump in an effort to about an effort Musk launched to convince business leaders not to support President Biden in November. So Nelson Peltz is involved, Elon Musk is involved, and that's what needs to happen right there. We need more of this. We need more of this. So I'm really excited about this. We're going to see how this, turns out. But Trump considering White House advisory role for Elon Musk as they hold calls several times a month. That is a report from the Wall Street Journal, and that to me is massive news. Massive news right there, and I'm really excited about that. So we're going to see how that turns out. Okay, so that's good news. All right, there's the chat. How's everybody doing in the chat? Not a lot of people are talking about that. Not a lot of people at all. And they should be. More people should be talking about that because that's a huge, huge story. Huge story. Let's see. All right. Let me see. I had some more bookmarks pulled up. I'm trying to get everything worked out for all of you. Now, in terms of today's hush money trial and the verdict and everything like that, it's all bullshit. We know that, okay? That's 100% accurate. We know it's bullshit. And everybody is getting to the point where they know it's bullshit as well. Everybody is seeing through this bullshit for what it is. And the more that this plays out, I know people are trying to come up with scenarios about like, oh, well, this is what this means and this is what this means. I don't know if anybody really knows what any of this means yet. I don't think anyone really knows. It knows what. I gotta turn my fucking volume down. But people are like, well, since they are deliberating, that's probably a good sign for Trump, or that's a bad sign for Trump. Like, I don't think anybody really knows what this means because they're still deliberating. At the end of the day, there's two scenarios that we are facing, is at least that's what a lot of people are talking about. There's two scenarios. There is will Trump be found not guilty or will he found guilty? I've said it doesn't really matter because he's going to benefit from either one of those scenarios regardless. He's probably going to benefit more if he's guilty, but either way, he's going to benefit from it. But there is one more angle, and now that the jury is resting for the day and they're going to go back and have discussions more, I have a theory. And my theory is we're going to get a hung jury. That's what I think. I think we're going to get a hung jury. And I don't know all of the details in terms of like when you get a hung jury and what happens and all of that. But what I do know is that I think that would lead to a retrial, if I'm not mistaken. And again, I'm clearly not an attorney, but I think that's going to lead to a retrial, and that's just going to drag the process out even more, which I think is the best case scenario for the court and for the corrupt left, is to leave the decision out there in the open still. So if it's a hung jury, then that means that the question is still going to be, did he or didn't he do it? Yada, yada, yada. The narrative is still going to be out there because ultimately, guilty or not guilty is going to be good for Trump regardless, because he's still going to continue to move forward. The hung jury element continues to drag this out and drag this out. That's what I think is going to happen. I think we're going to get a hung jury, and I don't know what the process is about how that whole thing happens, but I think that's the only thing that they can, that's the only good scenario, and it's still not a good scenario for the left and the court and the corrupt judges, but that's the best of the three, is to have a hung jury. So that's what I think. So we'll see. But that's my prediction on it. What do you guys think? I know a lot of people think, oh, Trump's just going to be found guilty, yada, yada, yada. And maybe he will. Maybe he will. But again, it doesn't really matter. Well, I mean, it does in terms of like he's going to take full advantage of that if he is found guilty. But I guess time will tell. What does the chat think? Hung jury, case dismissed, DA to refile. Is that how it works? So hung jury, case dismissed, and then the DA has to refile, so it starts the process all over again? Is that essentially?
It's called a mistrial, Jeremy. If there's a hung jury, mistrial, and then the DA would have to refile.
So refile it.
If they refiled, if they chose to pursue the charges again, there would be a new trial, likely in at least a year.
But could they speed the process up, considering that they've already thrown every rule out of the book, out of the window that's for normal practices? Could they in theory start this trial process all over again in say a month or two to continue to keep him bogged down? Is that I know that's not a normal process, but in theory, based on all the other shit that they're throwing, could they do that? Could they turn this around and start another trial in a month or two?
It's unlikely, but they could. It's mainly a scheduling thing that makes it out so far. I mean, when did these charges first come against him? It's been a while, so it's possible. But.
Yeah. So I think that they would absolutely try to turn this around, because again, we all know what this is, okay? This is all about what? This is about stopping Trump. That's the only thing this is for. This is not about justice. This is not about the law. This is not about protecting people. This is about stopping Trump. That's the only thing this exists for in the first place. So because of that, they're going, and again, look what the judge is doing right now and the things that they're throwing out there. It's absolute nonsense. People can't even believe, even people that aren't the biggest fans of Trump are looking at this going, this is absolute insanity. But you know what? Trump ain't worried about it. He's hanging out. Look what Don Jr. and President Trump are doing right now.
Hey guys, I'm here with your favorite president. We're cranking out a couple mean tweets at the courthouse. Why don't you read that last one, because I think it's pretty
I think I'm going to put it out instead of reading it, but I know my son's doing very well on social media. I'm proud of him.
Stay tuned. It'll be a doozy. Hey guys, I'm here with your favorite president. We're cranking out a couple mean tweets at the courthouse. Why don't you read that last one, because I think it's pretty
I think I'm going to put it out instead of reading it, but I know my son's doing very well on social media. I'm proud of him.
Stay tuned. It'll be a doozy.
I mean, he's just chilling, man. You know, Trump's just chilling. He's like, what's up? I'm putting some mean tweets out, you know. This is unbelievable what we're watching right now. It really is. Now, There's right here, if I can find it. All right, so Judge Janine, very, very upset. And Trump, I think Trump tweeted this out or put it on True Social. Here we go.
But there's no evidence. The defense couldn't defend themselves on it. That's bizarre, John. No one has heard of this. It's like a menu, column A, B, or C. You don't all have to agree on it. Whatever, folks. This is a kangaroo court. This is unheard of. I'm telling you, I've done this for 32 years. I'm not a federal prosecutor. I'm a state prosecutor. I'm not a federal judge. I'm a county judge just like Mershon. This is New York law. This is my wheelhouse. He is wrong.
Judge, thank you.
But
I mean, the judge is about as corrupt as you can possibly be. It really is. Vault 95 says, Jeremy, look at the judge's instructions to the jury. The jury does not have to unanimously agree to get a guilty verdict rigged. Absolutely. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Like, they're changing all the rules. They're changing all the rules right in front of us. Right in front of us. Because they don't care. Because they're not held accountable for any of this. All right? They're not held accountable for any of this. It's unbelievable. Something happened with Rand Paul, and I don't know what. I saw this tweet right here, and I don't know what's going on with Rand Paul right now. Very disappointed that Rand Paul, who has yet to endorse Trump, is radio silent as President Trump is being politically persecuted by crooked Joe Biden and a corrupt judge. Rand is also cozying up to far-left nutjob RFK Jr. What's going on, Rand? So I don't know what's going on with Rand. I know that, like, just yesterday, Alex Jones was talking about how he would love to see, like, Rand Paul considered for VP, but I'm not sure. Laura Loomer, this is from May 9th. Attention, MAGA. Rand is working to sabotage President Trump with his chief strategist, Doug Stafford, who is working for Marxist RFK Jr. So, I don't know. Again, this is where I have a hard line in the sand. Support Trump. Okay, if you're not, then you be called out. Rand Paul, I mean, we remember all the dust-ups him and President Trump had in the 2016 debates. We remember how all that went. But it looks like Rand Paul is not really, supporting President Trump right now with all of this craziness going on. So there you go with that. So we will look further into that and follow that as it goes. And here's a good little clip from Vivek Ramaswamy. But before we do that, I want to read a few super chats. So let's see who we got here. Who's in the house? Who we got? Golden Nugget says, okay, last soup. LOL. I was nearly mugged the other day. Things have been stressful. As a left-wing city. Sorry about the gay comment, but I'm guessing you were trolling me when you said I was being mean. Oh, yeah, not at all. I'm sorry to hear you almost got mugged, man. You got to be careful out there. You got to be careful. It's crazy out there, man. Nowhere is safe these days, and that's the worst part of it. Let's see. Jay Schwalbach says, hey, everybody. Joe Neerman, Good Logic, will be on Chrissy Mayer's show because she's a real Trump supporter. She is helping ungag Trump while others won't. Plus a little Ricada, too. Chrissy will have anybody on her show. That's for sure. Not me. That's not what I do here. Spirian for a 199. Thank you, Spirian. Predon Corp says, on time and gay. Still gay? Timbo Slice says, there has been an imposter last night on Square Up. You read a super from Timbo Slice. That wasn't me. I thought it was I feel like it was not Timbo Slice. That wasn't me. I must know who that is so we can have a Highlander-style fight. There can only be one. Let's see. Yeah, there was one that was similar to your name. Am I wrong, though? I'll have to look that up and see. I'll have to look and see. Sir Ruin of House Roundhead says, I think Trump should pick Robert De Niro as his VP. LOL. That would go great. Mark of Reality says Benny Johnson is saying there is some indication that the New York that the New York Trump jury could come back as a hung jury. Did he say that? I haven't even heard that one yet. I was watching Tim Pool earlier. Tim Pool said that he thought that it was going to be a conviction. Which I'm not, there was this right here, if I could find it. But yeah, I saw Tim Pool said earlier he thought that there was going to be a conviction. So, but a hung jury seems to be the most logical result here. But Ministry of Wrongdoing says the entire point of the court cases were to prevent Trump from campaigning, but instead Trump's using it as free ad campaigning. He played the rope-a-dope, the media again, better than 2016. They mad. Yeah, I mean, they are, and they can't control him, and they're never going to control him. Crimson Raptor says, we need a lifetime beard of shame for Juan Merchant. River Miles says, even Letitia James sees the bullshit in 3D without 3D glasses. Zinni Biscuit says, there's a small chance my state, Virginia, will go red in November. Let's go, Virginia. Man, this is going to be they have cemented Donald Trump as, Donald Trump's legend will live on forever. They have cemented Donald Trump as one of the most legendary figures in the history of America. That's what they've done to this man. They have cemented him that he will be remembered forever. Donald Trump will be remembered forever. And that's mainly because the left has done such a bad job of trying to demonize him. They've made him a hero. They have made him a legend that his name will live on forever, all because of this. It's unbelievable. Let's see. PK13910 says, there won't be a hung jury because the corrupt judge told the jury they didn't have to agree. They only need a majority. Yeah, there was a report from, is it Leading Report? That put something out there earlier. Leading Report said right here. Leading Report said this. Members of the media from Trump's hush money case courtroom believe the prosecutors have lost the vote of at least half of the jurors. I mean, again, it probably has something to do with the fact that Trump hasn't committed a crime. Trump hasn't done anything wrong. Maybe that has something to do with it. Maybe. Going out on a limb here, I know. You Snake Sucker says, Beardo playing Metal Gear Solid Round 11. Snipe. I'm not going to snipe him from this channel. I'm not going to do it. Drew O'Connor says, if Trump does win in November, what's to stop the corrupt elites from fixing the results again, even if public support is in his favor? So my best answer for that is that I think Trump has learned from his mistakes, and he's even said as much. He even said it in the Tim Pool interview, where he knows the lay of the land a lot more now than he did before. You got to think about it logically. I don't care how witty or smart or calculated or successful Donald Trump has been. I don't care how witty or smart or successful anyone has been. When you go into take over the political landscape like he did in such a short amount of time, and you make as many enemies along the way as he made, there is no way that's going to be easy. You're going to be faced with people backstabbing you, sabotaging you, recording your phone call, setting you up, trying to get you involved in some scandal. And he faced so much opposition because ultimately Trump being successful was a bad thing for the elites. The elites could not have Trump have a successful 4 years. Even though he did, they tried to present this narrative that it wasn't successful. So they really did challenge him and made it far more difficult for him to do his job. He still did a fantastic job, but I think even he underestimated how dirty the swamp was. Now he knows. Now he understands. And again, I think a clear sign of this is him working something out with Elon Musk. That is a Trump move, just like he tried to work something out with Ron DeSantis. DeSantis has not said a word about that, by the way. Trump is trying to build relationships and bridges with people, not letting his ego get in the way of that because he understands that there's bigger things going on. So the fact that him and Elon are working together, I think that shows that he's trying to reach across the aisle with people that have leverage and that can help get things done. He tried to do it with Ron DeSantis. DeSantis has said nothing about that up until this point. But I think he understands the lay of the land a lot better this time, and he's going to put better, stronger people in positions of power that are going to be able to carry out his agenda better. That's my theory on it. The Fixer says, in my opinion, Trump is on trial for being Donald J. Trump. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Well, Donald Trump is on trial to make sure that the next person in his position doesn't do what he's done. So Donald Trump, and this is supposed to be a message for the next billionaire, the next independent thinker, the next YouTuber, the next media person, the next whatever. Donald Trump they're trying to make an example of him to make sure that the next person doesn't try to stand against the evil corruption of the government and the machine. That's essentially what this comes down to, because they feel like if Donald Trump is successful, that he's going to inspire more and more people to do it. But if they can take him down, they can take down the most powerful man in the world, then they're basically trying to scare anyone else from doing it. That's what they want. That's the whole point. They can't have him be successful, because if he does become successful and if he does succeed, then that, power that they've had for so long and that control will start to be compromised. So there you go. Dan Wonder says, telling the jury telling the jury they don't have to agree on the crime is commie fuckery. Yeah, I can't believe that judge said that, but he did, and it's amazing. It really is. Love Dog says, I've tested negative. I like it. I like it. Samuel B says, hung jury for hung Daddy Trump. Sir Ruin of House Roundhead, I would have liked seeing you outside Trump's trial having a back and forth with Robert De Niro, especially if you said, you talking to me? Yeah, I mean, he's surrounded by people. He's protected. He's a fake tough guy. He wears lifts on his shoes. Where are those pictures at? There's pictures of like De Niro wearing lifts on his shoes. Okay, De Niro. Let me see if I can find it. It's like the man really does. The man really, really does. All right, here we go. Right here. Look at this clown. All right, he's very insecure. All right. So this is Robert De Niro to make himself look taller, to make himself look like a tough guy. All right, this is Mr. Tough Guy. He's got to look a little bit taller, guys, okay? What a pathetic beta. All right? What a pathetic beta. This is a weak man right here, okay? This is a weak individual. And ultimately, he suffers from the same thing that every other celebrity suffers from. They really can't stand that Donald Trump is just more popular than them. He's more popular than them. He's more famous than them. He's more liked than them. And they know that. Like, does anybody actually care what Robert De Niro thinks about anything? No. Do we care about Robert De Niro pretending to be another person that he's not? Yeah. Robert De Niro is good at pretending to be someone he's not. And that's why he gets paid a lot of money, just like all of these actors. These actors are not interesting people at their core. They're interesting when they are pretending to be someone else. And that's where their arrogance level comes into play. They become famous because they're pretending to be someone else. And that makes them think that they actually matter. That makes them think that, wow, well, people care. People care. People care. Take it easy, Linko Kenobi. They're like, oh, people must care about my opinions. No, we don't. Nobody cares about your opinions. This is why you are paid a lot of money to pretend to be someone that you're not. Every single time. Every single time. It's so funny, dude. Let's see. Mod Eric says, all I know is Jay is right on this one. Good old Jay. Okay, I want to watch Dan Bongino's interview with President Trump. So Dan Bongino over on Rumble did an interview with President Trump. No, that's not going to work. How about this one? There we go. Okay. So let's watch this. Let's watch this.
The radio show today. I just wasn't sure what was going to happen, how long the jury would be out. We just finished the interview. That's why I've got the jacket on. A few things get out of the way. I got a quick break in the beginning. We'll run the interview straight through. take a short break after that, and then I've got some more content. This will be why people are flocking to it. To this interview, another day for 2,000 calories runs about 15, 20 minutes or so. It's worth your time. Hit it.
Well, thank you, Dan.
They see a guy who's been through a lot on a really busy news day, President Donald J. Trump, as his trial comes to a close. Mr. President, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Dan. Been my friend for a long time, Dan.
Well, I try to keep my friend circle small. I only like good people, and you're one of them. So I really appreciate everything you're doing. Mr. President, this trial is obviously a sham, a disgrace to humankind. This judge has been an abomination. But I think the seed of all this is obviously the Biden Justice Department. There's been some commentary today about this. The evidence is everywhere. Colangelo coming from DOJ. You got all these meetings at the White House. This is a Biden-directed hit, this entire operation.
Well, there's no question about it. I can't mention names like you can, and you mentioned it. I didn't. But the fact is, I'm gagged. They gagged me, so they're allowed to talk about me. I'm not allowed to talk about them. But this comes right out of the White House. This is the way he wants to try and win. Now, so far, it's reverberated. It's gone the opposite. We're way up in the polls. But and I can't imagine anybody wanting to vote for this guy. He's the worst president in the history of our country. Our country's never been so divided like it is right now. He's a disaster. But absolutely, this comes out of the White House. This is a White House show trial, they call it.
Yeah. Mr. President, you're sitting in that court every day. This is the worst case of election interference I've ever seen. The Justice Department and legal entities at the ADA, Manhattan, New York State level, and in Georgia.
The judge here is just unbelievable. It's, what he's doing, his rulings, everything else. We have a great case, an unbelievable case. There is no case. It shouldn't have been brought. But sometimes it's better to have a good judge than a good case, and they got themselves a beauty.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the judge's instructions were a constitutional abomination. This is a serious trial, Mr.
I don't listen to Bongino a lot. And I have nothing against Bongino. I just don't know a lot about him, but it seems like people do like Dan Bongino. I know, wasn't he on Fox News for a little while? And this that's not like what defines him, because he's been like an independent for a while, but I feel like he was on Fox News. Maybe he's not on Fox News anymore. But I've heard nothing but good things about Bongino. I just don't watch him a lot, but I know he's definitely a supporter of President Trump and always has been.
Mr. President, I mean, yes, you were the president of the United States, likely to be the next one, we all hope, but you're still a citizen. This isn't the Soviet Union with gulags. This case has to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt, every element of every piece of every charge. And that's clearly not what the judge appeared to be implying with these ridiculous North Korea-style instructions he gave to the jury today.
It's disgraceful. And people are angry about it, and it's very confusing to people. And the bottom line is there's no crime. They can't show a crime. Nobody knows what the crime is. And if you look at all the legal scholars, Dan, all the legal scholars and the brilliant, let's call them the law minds around town, every one of them, all of your friends, many of your friends, but all of your friends, they say there's no case here. This shouldn't have been brought. And it could have been brought 7 years ago. It didn't have to be brought in the middle of an election.
Yeah. Mr. President,
the reason they brought it. If I didn't run or something, if I was like everybody else, number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, they wouldn't have brought this case ever.
And that's what's so bad about this. And I've talked about that. Trump has mentioned that 1,000 times. But ultimately, that's where it comes into. Like, we know that these cases, none of these cases would be happening if Trump wasn't running and dominating. First of all, it's not even that he's running is the problem. It's the fact that he's dominating. He's become too popular. Becoming too popular when you're outside of the machine is a fucking problem. Ask Alex Jones, because Alex Jones became too popular. It's not that Alex Jones was, and this is what it comes down to. People don't care what people are saying at all. They care when too many people agree with what that person is saying. And I've said that 1,000 times, 1,000 times. It's not nothing that Alex Jones said was ever a problem. The problem is too many people agreed with Alex Jones, and that was the problem. Because if Alex Jones was talking to an audience of 400 people every day, No one would have cared. No one would have had a problem with it. Nothing. If Donald Trump was going at 2% right now, or even 5%, instead of like getting the massive percentages, then they wouldn't have a problem with it, because Donald Trump would just be another celebrity trying to run for president and failing at it with his 5%, and none of this shit would be happening. But he's too popular, he's too effective, and he's hitting too close to home, and that's what bothers them. Becoming too popular is the problem. Ask Tucker Carlson, ask Alex Jones, ask Donald Trump. That's the problem.
Bragg turned it down. You know, he turned it down 2 years ago. He didn't want to bring this case. But then when I ran, they said, let's bring a case. So far, it's been good for poll numbers anyway.
Yeah, and I understand the gag order, and I'm not obviously not trying to get you in any trouble here. You know, these people are just, they've got it in for you. It's clear.
Yep.
But again, I mean, Cy Vance and others clearly passed on this case. The FEC, the Federal Elections Commission, for the liberals listening, has already said this is not an election violation. This is the case here. No one's. I'm having a hard time determining what crime, Mr. President, they even alleged in the case.
And they have no crime. So what they're trying to do is make a state case out of a federal. So what they're doing is the state is trying to take the place of federal. It's never happened before. But the Federal Elections Commission took a pass, a total pass. They said, and they studied it very at length. And they took a pass. And now you have the state trying to make a federal crime. The whole thing is crazy, and nobody knows what's happening. In fact, they asked the judge, as you saw it today, they asked the judge, please reread the instructions, which went on for about an hour. And so it's just a crazy thing. It's such a shame. And the world is laughing at America, just laughing with all the problems we have.
Yeah, I think some of the tyrants around the world are taking notes. They're probably thinking to themselves, this Biden guy's really good at this tyranny thing. You ever find it odd, Mr. President, that they accuse you of being a dictator, you know, the Hitler things are out again, and yet every single thing these despots and scumbags did, they're doing, not you. Don't you find that a little weird?
That's a common tactic by the left and people with left-wing tendencies, is they accuse you of the very thing that they are guilty of. It's everybody knows this. I'm not breaking any news right now. The left fixates on whoever their enemy is or whoever they're upset with, and they basically just invent narratives so that they can take all of the attention off of them. That's what they do. Like, anybody with left-wing tendencies does this. They do it with me. They've done it with you. They do it with Trump. They do it with anybody they disagree with. Because those that preach the loudest have the most to hide every single time.
Even if you go back, you had the Comey stuff. I fired Comey and a lot of his people, wonderful people, right? But I fired them all. We were knocking out the swamp. I got rid of Comey, very early. And don't forget, I inherited him. I didn't put him there. I inherited Comey. But we got rid of him and some of his people real fast, and a lot of other people too. Thousands of people over the course of the few years. And I mean, the swamp was deep, but I have to tell you, this one is unbelievable. They spied on my campaign. They did the Russia hoax, the Ukraine. They did FISA, everything. They did so many different things. The fake news dossier, remember the fabulous dossier that they paid like $12 million for? That was Hillary Clinton and the DNC. All the stuff they do, Dan. And then they accuse me of... And the funniest part, so they interfere with the election like nobody in history with their locked boxes and all the horrible things they did, and they sue me for election interference. Okay, it's they're a disgrace. They're so bad for this country. These people, they're fascists. It's the only thing they're good at. They're not good at the wall. I can tell you, they're not good at keeping people out, because we have about 16, 17 million people from a lot of bad places. You have. Millions of people from prisons and from mental institutions pouring into our country.
Our good buddy Rob Johnson's here in the chat. Rob Johnson does not like President Trump, does not like me, and does not like the heavy majority of you. So if you guys could just give some MAGA love to Rob Johnson to make him cry himself to sleep tonight, that would be wonderful. And Hayden Wayne for 50 Says, De Niro actually said it yesterday. These people are completely delusional because of fear-mongering and doom posting from their own side. They have convinced people that Trump will delete them. Reddit weirdos are calling for war. Hello, FBI? Oh, wait. Yeah, thank you, Hayden. Good to see you here, brother. Yeah, that's... Right now, look, it's everything is so fucking crazy right now online. You've got the Trump stuff going on. You've got all types of controversies going on in online communities. I'm not going to get into any of that. It's like online right now, it's like you're walking through a minefield and you're just trying not to step in the wrong place or you're going to have a fucking explosion. And it's all, the Trump thing is like the biggest thing out there right now. And yeah, but you can't even rely on the FBI anymore. Like, I know there's the old meme of like, call the FBI, but no. Like, you can't even do that because the FBI is just as corrupt as any other organization out there. No one knows what's going on. And it's wild. And yes, there is so much division and there's so much back and forth and there's so much tension, whether it's on the top political scales, whether it's within online communities, whether it's here or there. It's wild. And I am curious about that. I'll get into that a little bit later. Like, I might open up a discussion about that a little bit later about what's going on with like social media and stuff. But it's pretty crazy out there.
And destroying our country, and this is what they focus on. It's just disgusting.
Mr. President, one of the best lines I think you've given in an interview, I believe you told Sean Hannity, you said that your revenge will be success. And I got up and I thought that's fantastic. But by success, do you see personnel as being the biggest problem? And I ask you because you just hinted at something. The problem in government right now, we don't need more laws, Mr. President. We need better people who will abide by it. The Biden administration has thrown all this stuff out the window. His people don't care about the law. When you get into office next time, personnel or policy, is there going to be a massive house cleaning here?
Policy, but the policy is largely common sense. We need borders. We need fair elections. We need a good military. We want low interest rates and taxes, et cetera, right? So a lot of policy is common sense, but you need people. And, we had a lot of great people. I rebuilt the military, biggest tax cuts in history, biggest regulation cuts in history, all of the things that but I could have made some other choices, too, because of some of the people I didn't like, and I didn't. But when I came in,
That's the closest you're going to get to a Trump saying that I made mistakes. That comment right there, that's the closest you're going to get to Trump saying that I made some mistakes on personnel. And let's back that up. How do you back up over here? Let's see. Here we go.
A massive house cleaning here.
Policy, but the policy is largely common sense. We need borders. We need fair elections. We need a good military. We want low interest rates and taxes. Et cetera, right? So a lot of policy is common sense, but you need people. And, we had a lot of great people. I rebuilt the military, biggest tax cuts in history, biggest regulation cuts in history, all of the things that but I could have made some other choices, too, because of some of the people I didn't like, and I didn't. But when I came...
Some of the people I didn't like. But, yeah, that's right there. That's the closest you're going to get to hearing Trump say, like, yeah, I really fucked up on personnel. And but that's good that he's aware of it. That's all. He doesn't need to say it. He just needs to be aware of it. He's clearly aware of it. He said it in the Tim Pool interview. He's just kind of reiterating that right there. That is the biggest problem from the first Trump administration was the people in his cabinet.
Came in, I was in Washington my entire life, 17 times. I never stayed over. So I had to rely on people, and sometimes you'd speak to a rhino, and they'd give you some recommendation, whether they meant well or not. And they turn out to be not the great people. Now, unlike Biden, he never fires anybody. I fire people. I mean, think of it. In Afghanistan, they didn't fire anybody. Milley should have been fired. They all should have been fired. That was the most embarrassing day in the history, in the history of our country, Afghanistan. The way they, not getting out, I was prepared. We were going to get out with dignity and strength. And keep Bagram, by the way, which is 1 hour away from China, where they make their nuclear weapons, right? So, that's the big Air Force base. But you look at Biden, nobody got fired. Did anybody ever get fired in the Biden administration? And I think they just don't want him to go out and write books. Like, you fire some of these clowns that turn out not to be good, then they write a nasty book. So I guess maybe in one way he figures at least they won't write books now. They'll get them later.
Yeah. Listen, I agree. Personnel or policy, and if we don't get rid of some of these dogs in government who are screwing up our system of government, then
you put somebody good in charge of one of these big agencies, you get somebody great, the agency's great.
See, and that's what I'm telling you. This is the most important part of this, is him learning his lesson from that first run. And he just said it. I know people have said like, oh, he said he wants to give the FBI a new building. He's going to wipe the FBI out. And he's going to hire somebody that's going to hold them accountable and create a proper FBI, CIA, whatever. That's what he has to do. He has no choice. This is 4 years. This is his last run. There's not another chance after this.
It's like a building. You get a good manager. You get a good manager in a building, it runs good. You get a bad one, no matter what you do, it's not going to run. It's the same thing, little larger version.
Mr. President, I know you've got 1,000 important decisions you have to make about personnel with your team. I'm not naive to that, but I made the argument on my show a couple of times. You may think I'm crazy, maybe not. I think your selection for Attorney General is your most important pick. Vice President's obviously important, but if we get the Attorney General wrong, I know you won't, but if we get that wrong after this abomination of justice and what happened to you, we're not going to have a country left. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah. It's a very big choice, and I made two bad choices. Now, I was loyal. Jeff Sessions, he was the first senator to endorse me. He came to me, please let me.
Trump just said he made two bad choices. I'm telling you, he's very aware the personnel problems that he had in his first administration.
He was begging me to do it after I won, and I was loyal, and he didn't have what it took. As soon as he heard the word Russia, he ran for the hills. And Bill Barr, unfortunately, and I know he endorsed me recently, so it's always tough to be, if you can believe that he endorsed me, but he was not a man of strength. He was a coward, and he was afraid to go after people on the election, cheating that went on that and everybody knows with a brain went on. And we're not going to let that happen again. But I wish, I made two different choices there. I had it twice. And then you have other important positions, too. I think, by the way, I think defense was very good at the end. He did a good job. But we had mostly good, Bob Lighthizer was great. We had a lot of great people. But now I know everybody, Dan. I know the good ones, the strong ones, the weak ones, the dumb ones, the smart ones. I know them all. But I was never, I was never a Washington guy. I was with you in New York, and I knew New York very well. But now I know Washington better than probably anybody. And I know the good ones and the bad ones, the weak ones and the strong ones. And we got to get that. But that isn't important. And then you need Secretary of State. You need Secretary of Defense. They're all important, Dan, every one of them.
Yeah, they are. Attorney General with everything at the weaponization of the Justice Department is really
very
troubling.
Important decision, no question about it.
Speaking of your trial here as well, Mark Levin, a friend of both of ours, a real great patriot there, he put out a very interesting the thread this morning on his social media accounts talking about how the Supreme Court, and we don't know yet what's going to happen, but if there is a ridiculous conviction in this sham, disgusting, filth-ridden, grotesque trial, I don't have enough adjectives and adverbs to describe this abomination, that the Supreme Court should take this thing immediately on due process violations. They've yet to state a crime, no less prove beyond a reasonable doubt you committed one. Your thoughts on that and the left's attempts right now to intimidate the Supreme Court going after Alito and others. They're clearly doing that to send a message in case this winds up at the Supreme Court.
And this is if he's convicted, which again only benefits him. Ultimately, I think only benefits him, and I think they know that. But if he's convicted, there's like no chance that the Supreme Court can't. Again, I'm speaking in normal circumstances, but I would imagine that there's no chance the Supreme Court doesn't get involved in this.
Well, they're trying to play the ref. Alito's a tough guy, and he's strong and very, very smart. And he put out a great statement today. In fact, I commented on it. I don't know if you saw that on Truth. Your people love truth, and so do I. But I commented on it. I gave him a lot of credit for it. But they play the ref. They intimidate him. They still, to this day, by law, they have to give. You can't have protesters. You can't around their houses. You can. They haven't done a thing. They haven't done a thing. What they're doing is so bad. They haven't done anything to protect the justices. It's really disgraceful what's going on. All that we heard about it for 2 years. But Alito's great, Thomas great. The three that I put in, I think they do it. I mean, it's a little early, but people are starting to warm up to him. I will say this, but they've got to be strong and they've got to be tough. Alito's been very tough, very good, and Thomas has been good. And we're going to see how it all works out. But it's such an important position, such a big deal. But when I look at the way they're treated, they play the ref. They try and scare them. They try and, look, they're humans like everybody else, but they try and do Bobby Knight. The great Bobby Knight. He'd scream, scream, scream. And Bobby said, well, you're not going to win this one, but we'll win the next call, right? Yeah. And that's what they do with our judges. Not only the Supreme Court justices, but they do it with judges, and they do it with a lot of different people. They do it with a lot of different people where they're afraid to function. People are afraid to function because they don't want to go through it. But and the problem is the left. Look, the problem is the left. I know the left, I know the right. The big problem here, they don't talk about it. The problem is the left, and the big danger comes from the left.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. I mean, obviously, they've taken on totalitarian tendencies. I mean, we've seen it. The evidence is everywhere. Mr. President, this discussion, I hate to even bring this, embarrassing to even have this discussion, but this is how crazy they are. This discussion of jail and the Secret Service advancing a jail, I mean, this is third world type stuff. I got to tell you, there are third world, tin pot dictators who are watching this, and they can't believe what's happening.
We're living in a third world country.
Okay, so, and here's the thing that all of this has taught me, and I think it's opened a lot of people's eyes, and it's the government didn't just start being corrupt because Donald Trump is a political player now. It's always been this way, and it's always been a good old boy system, and every single person in power has always been willing to play ball. And so we've never seen it exposed to this level because there's never been someone that's willing to expose them and stand up against them. Donald Trump has broken the system. It's always been like this. Always. Everything that we've ever heard was a lie. It was conditioning us to get the information that they wanted us to have, not the information that we needed. It's only the information that they felt we needed. And the people in power were always willing to play ball. Trump is the first person that's ever challenged that system at this high of a level. Let's rewind this a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. I mean, obviously, they've taken on totalitarian tendencies. I mean, we've seen it. The evidence is everywhere. Mr. President, this discussion, I hate to even bring this, embarrassing to even have this discussion, but this is how crazy they are. This discussion of jail and the Secret Service advancing a jail, I mean, this is third world type stuff. I got to tell you, there are third world, tin pot dictators who are watching this, and they can't believe what's happening.
We're living in a third world country. We have no borders. They're pouring in by the millions, and they're coming from prisons and jails and mental institutions and insane asylums, and they're terrorists. Massive numbers of terrorists are coming in. They're coming from the Congo. They're coming from all over Africa. They're coming from all over Asia, and they're coming from the Middle East, and they're coming from South America. But you would be amazed. The numbers are getting bigger outside of South America. They're coming from all over the world. We have no idea who they are, in many cases, from where they come. The only thing we know is they're tough as hell, and they're criminals. Many, many criminals are coming in. Many, many criminals are coming in. And this horrible president, the worst president in the history of our country, is allowing it to happen. He's destroying the fabric of our country. And we're going to have the biggest deportation effort ever. And we're going to start with the bad ones. And we know who they are. And you know who knows who they are? The local police. They know everything about them. And we're going to give immunity to them, and we're going to let them do their job because they have to. But local police, they're afraid to protect people because they end up losing their pension, losing their job. Mm-hmm. You know it better than anybody. They lose their family. if they do their job. And we're not going to let that happen. They have to do their job.
So, Mr. President, Joe Biden had a rally in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in a gym. I think about 5 people showed up, 2 family members and 3 members of the media. How does that make you feel that they're trying to hold you up in a courtroom? And the reason they're doing it is obvious. You go to the South Bronx, a deep blue area, thousands of people show up. It's a raucous crowd. Joe Biden goes to an area that should be Democrat. And, 5, 10 people, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but not too much. The guy can't draw a crowd. He can't compete against you.
He's not a leader. And the whole thing was a disgrace. The whole election was a rigged election and a disgrace. And we're going to make it up. November 5th is going to be the most important day in the history of our country.
You see how, and this is we watched that a couple of those Charisma on Command videos. No matter what questions Donald Trump is asked, he tends to stay on point. He doesn't get caught up in the details of any new questioning or anything. He still just stays on point. It's a rigged election. It's a rigged election. He's the worst president in the history of our country. He just stays on point. We're gonna watch it. There's another one we're gonna watch too, but that's what he does. It's fantastic.
We're gonna make it up. And we're gonna make America great again. That's all I can tell you. We're gonna do it fast. We're gonna drill. We're gonna get energy prices down, down. I say drill, baby, drill. We're gonna get energy prices way down. We're gonna bring those numbers. I mean, people are looking at numbers sometimes as high as 50% of costs of things are up. No matter what they're making, they're getting wiped out. The middle class is being destroyed. The lower income people they can't even live under Biden. He talks about Bidenomics. He doesn't use the term anymore. It's a disaster. But the people are being hurt in our country. Look, we wouldn't have had inflation. More importantly, because frankly, that's numbers and it's terrible. But we wouldn't have had all those people being killed in Ukraine. It would have never happened. Putin would have never done it. We would have had oil prices down. I mean, the high oil prices gave him the money to do it. And we had low oil prices. We had low energy prices. You wouldn't have had Israel. You wouldn't have had the October 7th attack in Israel. You wouldn't have had any of this stuff. You wouldn't have had China. China wouldn't be eyeing Taiwan, which looks like they want it pretty badly. They weren't doing it. I had plenty of talks with him, and I had plenty of talks with Putin. They would have never gone in. Putin would have never gone in. President Xi would have never gone in. We would have had a much different world. I'll tell you, Dan, you wouldn't have had those 2 things alone. You wouldn't have had inflation. And if you take those 3 out, and you have had Iran was, as you know, they were broke. They weren't funding Hamas, and they weren't funding anything. They weren't funding Hezbollah. They weren't funding any of these terror states, these terror gangs, you call them, because they're gangs. And they were being funded by Iran. Iran had no money. They had no money. We had anybody bought, they couldn't do business in the United States. They had no money. And now they have $224 billion.
Yep.
A lot of money.
Great.
They're a different group, and they're looking to get a nuclear weapon, and they're going to have one soon because this idiot is allowing them to have a nuclear weapon. And when they have, you're not going to be able to talk to them anymore.
Yeah, just a new report released on their progress. Mr. President, I'm sorry you're going through all this. Thanks for fighting for the country. We really appreciate it. And thank you so much for these exclusive comments after this sham trial today. We really appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
It is my honor to be fighting. Thank you very much. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it very much. President Trump, folks.
Good interview from Dan Bongino. So good job, Bongino. We'll give him a like right there. Yeah, it was good stuff. So again, I don't watch Bongino that much, but that was a good interview, and really happy for President Trump talking with him. And again, it's just this whole thing is just such nonsense. It's unbelievable how much nonsense it is. And I do want to see, and we'll look it up here in a minute. I'm going to read some super chats really quick, and then I think I want to look at that video that I was telling you guys about, because it's really interesting. I find it, the Charisma on Command, because the guy predicted that Trump would actually win the 2016 election. And the reason he predicted it is the same reason Trump's going to win in 2024. So we're going to react to that here in just a minute. But let me catch up on some of these super chats really quick. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. Smash the melee button if you are hanging out with us. Let's see. Achilles for 20 says, I feel we're already in a hot civil mess, not just a social one. The doxing, the hits, the endorsed violence by politician. How is it not hot already? I mean, I think that things are bad, man. They are really bad on social media. They're bad with, you're talking about from a social standpoint. It's ugly out there, man. And that's why I don't want anything to do with a lot of the online drama. And it's why there are people that love it. And again, I say as a viewer, I eat it up myself. But as a person on YouTube and as a person that has a pretty big community of people, it's just not what I want to be part of from that perspective. And it's everywhere. It's not like isolated really. It's in all types of online communities and things like that. And if you get involved in it, it's gonna spread throughout your corner of the internet as well. So that's why I just stay the fuck out of it. In terms of like being a active participant, again, I am not saying that there's anything wrong with like viewing it. I can't stop watching a lot of the fucking drama myself, but I can't just. And I would get a ton of views, I'd get a ton of super chats, I'd get a ton of traction, but I'm not going to do it. But we are in a lot of ways in a definitely a social kind of media civil war already for sure. Rye the Guy says Robert De Niro has a tiny D energy just like our current president. Bilbo T. Baggins. Hail Jeremy, hail Snake Pit. Just wanted to give my brother Steve a shout out. He's a new viewer. He's also a truck driver. Can he get a swig? Trump 2024. P.S. He's a fig. Laughing my ass off. Swig of water to the truck driving working man right there. Thank you. Shout out to Steve. Rosemarie for 10 says, not sure who Rob Johnson is, but if he's got TDS, that's too bad. Trump 2024. Yeah, I'm not sure if he's an actual troll or if he's really someone that suffers from it. I really don't know. I have no idea. But he's dedicated, so I'll give him that much. Eric K says, small PP, De Niro is jealous of Trump's PP. I agree with Jay. For 2 says, I agree with Jay. Jocko Strap says, Bongino is former Secret Service agent. Shandog says, Robert De Niro, small man, big mouth syndrome. Just a dude on a phone. Rob Johnson rubs Johnson. Front toe enemy says, Rob Johnson, more like Rub Johnsons. Look at that. Alex Jones says, hail, you should read Saul D. Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. It came out in 1971 and is Hillary's Generations playbook. Know thy enemy. Thank you. Fantastic Mr. Not says, Rub Johnson rubbing out for Trump hate. Eric K says, Rob is mad because Ben dumped him. Damn. Sailor Dream says, Rob Johnson, more like gay sex. Front toward enemy. Joe sniffs kids and takes baths with his daughter. I don't care if Trump is guilty. I'm still voting for him. Bender Poppy Events Network. Hey, Jeremy, you should watch the latest Trump press conference from court. He had three or four good one-liners. Also, he made up a new word. Trump 2024. Let's go. Let's see. Is it Hume Seraph says, there's a G.I. Joe comic compendium on Kickstarter right now. You might find it interesting. I will be backing that. 1,000% backing that. The Fixer says, Biden and Democrats always get rich elites to talk him up. Never normal people on the street. No idea how Biden got 81 million votes. It defies belief. Nobody knows how it happened. Objectively, a cat says, our guy Sargon made the news cycle again. Shout out to Sargon. Yeah, what's he in the news for now? I'm interested on that one. All right, so this is a really interesting video from back in, this is 8 years ago. This video was made before the 2016 election, okay? And it does perfectly break down why Trump is Trump and why no one is on his level. It's a perfect breakdown of it. Now, again, I reacted to a couple of Charisma on Command videos the other day about Trump. This one is predicting a Trump victory in 2016. And I'm just going to say, I don't know anything about the guy that runs this channel. Judging on his voice, probably not a Trump supporter. Probably not a Trump supporter, but he's at least calling balls and strikes here on this video. So here we go right here.
Donald Trump is going to beat Hillary Clinton and be the next president. Now, let me be clear. This isn't a pro-Trump video. I'm not voting for Trump. But after watching hours of footage of both Trump and Hillary, I've seen an incredible pattern that convinced me to bet $1,000 of my own money that Trump would be the next president. Even though I'm not voting for him, that's how confident I am. So let's rewind 1 year to see how Trump got to where he is and how that can show us where he's going. Because as soon as Trump announced, a lot of people thought it was a joke.
Thank you, Donald. He is putting me in some kind of comedy hospice.
You see there Jon Stewart thanking Donald Trump for running. He assumed that it would give him tons of material to satirize, and he assumed that the rest of America would just laugh at Trump.
How'd that work out for you, Jon Stewart? How'd that work out for you, buddy? Didn't work out for you too well, did it, buddy? Bunch of fucking clowns.
Clearly, it has gone very differently. The only person I'm aware of who predicted this very early on was Scott Adams. He saw Trump's skill about 10 months ago and predicted a landslide victory in the general election. If you want to read more, check out Scott Adams' blog in the description. His analysis has really informed parts of this video. So Trump enters a field of 17 Republican candidates with huge amounts of money to spend on ads at their disposal. What does Trump do? He makes outlandish, polarizing statements.
They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
Yeah. I will get rid of gun-free zones on schools. My first day, it gets signed, okay?
And the other thing is with the terrorists, you have to take out their families. When you get these terrorists, you have to take out their families.
I would bomb the shit out of them. And that's right. I'd blow up the pipes. I'd blow up the I'd blow up every single inch. There would be nothing left. And I'd take the oil. And I said, I'll take the oil.
Ignoring the Geneva Convention, alienating Mexicans, these are the kind of statements that make you unelectable. If he were to call Mexicans rapists the day before the election, he would lose. But Trump isn't trying to get elected, at least not at this point.
First of all, he didn't call Mexicans rapists. That is very disingenuous from Charisma on Command with a lispy voice. Shockingly enough, I know, lispy voice takes his comments out of context. That's not what he said. And you even played what he said. But anyway, we'll continue.
He's trying to draw attention to himself in a very crowded Republican field, and the news outlets eat it up. They cover every single thing he says. All in all, he gets $2 billion worth of free media coverage, and he uses that time to reinforce the idea that he's winning, which he starts to do as soon as he insists that he is.
Every online poll said I won every one of the debates, especially the last one, by the way. Unfortunately for them, I won by many, many points.
Trump's statements earn him $2 billion worth of that message over 24 hours.
He says it. It doesn't matter if he won or not. Every poll says I've won. Everyone says I win. And then the media plays that over and over again. And then regardless if he was winning or wasn't, because of all the free media coverage that he manipulates, he starts to get the votes because he is smarter than all the media combined, and he knows how to play them like a fiddle.
Our news networks. So the casual viewer is bombarded with messages that Trump is not only the most important candidate, but that he's winning. And all of a sudden, he doesn't seem like such a joke. At the same time, Trump starts picking apart his opponents by branding them exactly how they don't want to be seen. Scott Adams calls these brandings linguistic kill shots, and Trump goes down the line of his biggest threats. First, Jeb Bush, who is the probable nominee simply because he's a Bush.
The weakest person on the stage by far is Jeb Bush.
And we don't need a weak person being president of the United States, okay? Because that's what we'd get if it were Jeb.
You're going to have to get out there yourself, Jeb. Weak, pathetic people. Low energy is a better term, right?
And finally, he took down Ted Cruz with one of his best brandings yet.
You know, Lion Ted Cruz came today. He couldn't draw 100 people.
Yeah, I know, but it's not what you said in the op-ed.
Breathe.
Lion Ted.
Breathe.
You can do it. You can breathe.
Lion Ted. I call him Lion Ted. He holds up the Bible and then he puts it down and he lies. Okay, Lion Ted.
He repeated those phrases often on air and in the debates. Weak Jeb, Little Marco, Lion Ted. And if you're like me, this name calling initially strikes you as lowbrow and juvenile. But if you doubt how well...
Yeah, it does not strike me as juvenile and lowbrow. It hits me as a normal person, and we talk shit, and name calling is awesome, and that's why the people love Donald Trump calling all of these clowns names. It's exactly what the country needs. Bring back Modern Warfare 2 lobbies. Bring back shit talking. Bring back insults. That's what we need. We need that. Make insults great again. That's what we need.
Well, these stick. Just take a look at how much Donald's supporters adopt those names as their own. This is what happened when Ted Cruz went to speak with some of Trump's supporters who had been heckling him outside of an event.
Now, do you know on the wall that Donald told the New York Times editorial board he's not going to build a wall and he's not going to deport anyone?
You're lying. Once again, lying Ted.
Canada is campaigning to work for you.
Like you always do.
Okay, stop.
Cruz can't even communicate him because every single time he starts, he just shouts Lion Ted. And that is exactly what you want out of a brand. You want it to be what people associate you, or in this case, your competition with. The smartest thing is that Donald doesn't just sit alone in a room and craft these perfect zingers. He comes up with a bunch of ideas and tests their reception live. Now, this brings us to Trump as the nominee versus Hillary Clinton. Still, people are saying that it's going to be an uphill battle for Trump because he's alienated Latinos, women, minorities. But then just a few weeks ago, Trump turned on a dime and started saying things completely unlike what we'd heard from him before.
You should understand that strengthening and promoting Western civilization and its accomplishments will do more to inspire positive reforms around the world than military interventions.
Well, I disagree with the charisma on command there. Basically, you heard all, and again, this is where charisma on command, he wants to talk about how the media does all of these things. Well, you fell right for the media's bullshit because Trump has always talked like this. It's that the media takes his one-liners and presents that that's the only thing Trump says. Trump has always talked like that. Trump has always made statements like this. This isn't anything out of the ordinary for Donald Trump. He's always done that. He's also always said, things like insulting people and calling people names that go after him. That's what he's always done. Thank you, Love Dogs, for 5 gifted memberships. Thank you.
Too much destruction out there. Too many destructive weapons. The power of weaponry is the single biggest problem that we have today in the world.
That sounds very different from the Trump who wanted to bomb them all to hell, go after the families, and allow guns into school zones.
Oh, my God, that's... Oh, God. Look, he's making good points. I'm not going to get caught up on little bullshit like that, but that's just such nonsense to not understand that there's a lot of substance to each one of those comments. They're not just blanket statements that Trump made. There's a lot of details that went into those comments and statements.
And it's by design. It's part of Trump's strategy, which can be summed up like this. First, get attention. You need to stand out when you're in a crowded field, so you have to bring attention to yourself. Second, win one audience at a time and start with the most immediate. In Trump's case, that was Republicans who were voting in the Republican primaries. He spoke to things that were important to them. Third, remove threats one at a time and start with the largest. So you saw how he went down the list. First Bush, then Rubio, then Cruz. Fourth, define the terms of the engagement so that you're already the winner. He successfully made this campaign about things that it really wasn't. He made it about being anti-establishment and strict on immigration. No one else had even seen those as important issues. He brought them to the forefront, and he was already the strongest on them. Fifth, be flexible based on what rallies an audience. So when you look at this strategy, it makes sense that Donald would look like a long shot to beat the Democratic candidate during the Republican primaries. He wasn't trying to appeal to the whole country, only the people who were voting. And by the way, there's not a ton of Mexicans or Muslims who are voting in the Republican primaries. And he even admits that he wasn't trying to beat Hillary and that you can expect things to change once he goes head to head with her. Check it out.
Hispanic voters have a favorable view of you, 81% unfavorable. I don't have to tell you, you cannot win in November with those numbers.
Well, I say those numbers are going way up once I start going. I have 2 more people I have to get rid of. I started off with 17, and one by one I knocked them off. And frankly, I have to, I have to do what I have to do. Now, once I start on Hillary, you'll see the numbers change. I mean,
I have 2 more people I have to get rid of. Holy shit, that's amazing. I gotta hear it one more time.
Well, I say those numbers are going way up once I start going. I have 2 more people I have to get rid of. I started off with 17, and one by one I knocked them off. And frankly, I have to, I have to do what I have to do. Now, once I start on Hillary, you'll see the numbers change. I mean,
and true to form, he's now turned his sights on Hillary. She's even got her own brand names that he's testing out, and you can expect Trump supporters to echo these for the rest of the race.
And of course, we have Crooked Hillary, folks. And that's why we're going to call her Heartless Hillary. We can do without that.
I don't know which of these Trump is going to use. Maybe he'll continue to use both Crooked and Heartless Hillary. But it is interesting to note that alliterations, where the first sound of something matches something, or rhymes, which is when the end sound matches, stick better in the mind. So we almost called our business Next Level Charisma, but chose Charisma on Command because it had that alliteration with the C sound, and it stuck better in the brain for it. By the way, if you go through and look at famous brands, you'll find that a lot of them follow this pattern, and perhaps the best ever is Coca-Cola, because it's got the rhyme and the alliteration. So we'll see if Heartless Hillary sticks. If not, count on Donald to keep coming up with new ones until he finds a brand name that does. Trump also got out in front of Hillary's favorite rallying point and made it a weakness. So watch how he mocks Hillary's reliance on what he calls the woman card and makes her stances into something that is anti-men.
Did you hear that Donald Trump raised his voice while speaking to a woman? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I mean, all of the men were petrified to speak to women anymore.
What's incredible about that statement is that it not only touches on Trump's common thread of political correctness, but it gives a target to those men who are scared to speak to women for their own reasons. It's Hillary Clinton's fault that you're afraid, and she's only going to make it worse. Now, I know that sounds crazy, and that's not literally what Trump is saying, but that is absolutely how some men are going to process that remark. So, in a nutshell, that's Trump's campaign strategy, and you're already seeing it turned on Hillary. It worked incredibly well for him in the primaries, but honestly, if it were for just Trump's strategy, I wouldn't have bet $1,000 that he would win. I bet $1,000 because Hillary's campaign is shooting itself in the foot. First off, the first thing that you see on her website is a plea not to vote for Donald Trump.
Now, this is the point where we get into the similarities of what we're seeing now. Because if you look at Joe Biden's campaign, what is Joe Biden's campaign about? Not Donald Trump. Not Donald Trump. Not Donald Trump. Not Donald. It's not about anything that Joe Biden's done, because everything that he has accomplished has been a negative for the country. So everything that they're campaigning on is, it can't be Donald Trump. We're not Donald Trump. Donald Trump is bad. Donald Trump is evil. Donald Trump is this. Donald Trump's this. Donald Trump's a criminal. Trump. It's Trump. That's the only thing that they can talk about. And this is where Hillary fell into the same trap, because he is such a dominant personality that he controls every single aspect of the news cycle. They can't get away from him. And that's why he's going to win in 2024.
First off, the first thing that you see on her website is a plea not to vote for Donald Trump. Nothing about why we should vote for her. Second, her website slogan has Trump's name in it, and it doesn't even make any sense. It's supposed to be some kind of double entendre, but the amount of time that you have to sit, look at it, and think about it is far too much for a slogan. And then you move on to her attacks. She attempted the same kind of branding as Donald did, but completely missed the point.
And their presumptive nominee, otherwise called their presumptuous nominee.
Don't expect this one to stick or to see Hillary supporters shouting out presumptuous Donald at rallies.
Jesus.
It's 4 syllables long. Most people don't even know what presumptuous means, and it's not really even an insult. Worse, Clinton allows her opponents to define her. Thanks to Donald, the theme of this election has been how important it is to get an outsider in the White House. Now, that is not a fact. That is a campaign strategy. You could just as easily argue that you need someone with qualifications and experience, someone who was there when Osama bin Laden was killed, who was Secretary of State and knows how to operate in the political arena. But that's not what Hillary has done. She's bought into this outsider equals good frame and is trying to defend it.
In the politics this year, it looks like everybody wants an outsider.
I cannot imagine anyone being more of an outsider than the first woman president.
Secretary Clinton does represent the establishment.
Senator Sanders is the only person who I think would characterize me, a woman running to be the first woman president, as exemplifying the establishment.
Now, is that at all believable? Hillary Clinton lived inside the White House for most of the 90s. She's been a senator and the Secretary of State. You cannot be much more of an insider than she is. So it's silly for her to deny it. What she ought to do is reframe the question like you see Obama do here. Make it about experience and know-how rather than being an outsider.
If you were listening to today's political debate, you might wonder where this strain of anti-intellectualism came from. In politics.
So you could say what you want about Obama, and obviously I think Obama is the reason that we're facing most of the problems we're facing right now. In public, he had a phenomenal ability to connect and communicate with people. He just did. He absolutely did. And he was a horrible president, and he's left a horrible legacy behind. But this clip right here puts that into perspective where he knows how to communicate.
And in life, ignorance is not a virtue. It's not cool to not know what you're talking about. That's not challenging political correctness. That's just not knowing what you're talking about. It's interesting that if we get sick, we actually want to make sure the doctors, like, gone to medical school, they know what they're talking about. And yet in our public lives, we suddenly think, I don't want somebody who's done it before.
Hillary's insiderness could be a positive. She could point out that she was in the room when Osama bin Laden was killed. Point out that while she was helping to run the country.
But this is the thing, is when Donald Trump turns his attention onto you, you can't stand there and talk about your accomplishment and how you get caught up in Trump because he knows how to dominate his opponent. He knows how to take over their entire mindset. And this is what he does. He does it with everybody. He did it with the entire political establishment in 2016 until he got to Hillary. And then Hillary, being an experienced person in the political arena for all of these years, even she could not deal with it. Even she could not overcome Trump.
Donald Trump was on a reality TV show, but she doesn't. She sees that Donald Trump has crafted outsider into a good thing, and she tries to fit that mold, which she can never do better than he did given her history. Worse, she is really going heavy with the fact that she's a woman to justify that outsiderness.
I cannot imagine anyone being more of an outsider than the first woman president.
This is an extremely vulnerable position because it can easily be viewed or twisted, depending on your point of view, as anti-half the population. When Donald Trump alienates people, he purposely picks voting minorities. For instance...
Oh, look at there. Look at there. Look who he's sitting next to. Look at that. It's almost like these people are programmed. Oh, I used to like Trump, but now the powers that be told me I can't like Trump anymore, so therefore I can't like Trump anymore. It's amazing how that works.
There are not a lot of Mexicans who are voting in Republican Party primaries. But if Hillary continues to really hype what Donald Trump is calling the woman card through the general election, you're going to see some men vote Republican for the first time in their lives. So in sum, Hillary's strategy is 1. Be clever with slogans rather than impactful. 2. Allow the press and her opponents to define the terms of engagement and then react by denying she is the things that they say she is. 3. Don't change your strategy as Donald cripples it. And 4, don't attack Donald proactively, just allow him to dismantle your weapons. And I guess that's not a strategy, that's what we have seen her do. Mostly she's been reactive. And
it is impossible to do the things that you're breaking down for someone that's going against Donald Trump. It's impossible to stay on point like that.
The overarching point of this is that the election is not going to be decided on policy. I'm not sure that any American election in recent year has been, but this one particularly is going to be decided on personality and identity. Who do you like more? Who do you feel more connected to? Every year, some comedian will go and ask people who they support and then read them a list of the other candidates' policies just to prove that people do not care about policy, and this is what happens.
Are you a Hillary Clinton supporter?
I sure am.
What about Donald Trump?
Next.
No, you don't support Donald Trump at all?
I know it's about that.
Support Hillary's plan to eliminate the estate tax?
Yes, I do support that.
So I told you those are all Donald Trump's policies.
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I hate him.
I don't mean this to pick on that woman or on Hillary supporters. The truth is you could do this just as easily with Republicans, Democrats, Hillary supporters, Trump supporters. It doesn't matter. The point is that there is a large portion of the population that is voting not at all based on policy but on image, and that portion is very, very easy to find for interviews. So if this election is going to come down to image, to the person who's most charismatic, who has a better understanding of how to create a brand image, there's no doubt that Donald Trump has a serious advantage in this election.
That's right. The God Emperor Trump. By the way, I see Brock in the chat. It says 1 year. How about how the time went by? But remember to hydrate and drink water. To Brock. Brock is throwing a lot of gifted memberships over this past year to this channel. So everyone give Brock a hail. Hail Brock. Swig of water for Brock. There we go.
That's why I bet $1,000 on him. Could Hillary do a total about face? Absolutely. But up until now, the impression that she has made on anyone who is undecided has not been a good one. If you personally are interested in the blueprint to making an amazing first impression, we've set up another video that covers the 4 emotions that will guarantee that every single time.
Is this the guy talking? I wonder if this is the guy talking. Let's just
you hit
move
those
on.
4 emotions in the right order. It doesn't matter what kind of environment you're in, from work, in the boardroom, to a bar or a party, it's all the same. So if you're curious what those emotions are, go ahead, click the box here. It's going to take you to a page.
All right, so that's, again, I do like this channel, Charisma on Command. I do think it's a good channel. And, you know, we'll probably react to more of their stuff in the future, but I do like Charisma on Command. It's a good channel. It's a good channel, and even if they probably disagree with me and probably think I'm a toxic piece of shit, they have pretty unbiased takes, so I can appreciate that. The Blind Lawyer says Robert Barnes watches you to stay informed. Robert Barnes is a very, very well-spoken, educated man. Dude has an unlimited amount of knowledge. But yeah, Robert's cool. He's cool peeps. So shout out to Robert Barnes. Robert Pennington says actors have to pretend to be others to resemble impress. Dead and Dug Up says, be nice, Jeremy. De Niro got those shoes when he was on the set of Frankenstein. Brotimus Prime, welcome to the Snake Pit. Karma says Robert De Niro has stage 6 TDS. Marty T says Trump will be convicted. Biden will pardon, depriving Trump of appeal. Biden gets Trump is convicted felon that I pardoned soundbite. That's an interesting. You know what? I don't think that they're got that level of thought to it, but that is a great idea for the Democrats. So I'm not going to repeat it anymore. Robble for 5 D-Day Cobra memberships. Thank you. And there's Brock's member message. McCog says Jeremy didn't call his company Geeks and Gamers because it rhymed, mofo. Too stupid to know what rhyming is. He just likes playing video games and thought the green crayons taste like lime. Thank you. Samuel for $9.99 says, I don't know if you talked about it or not, but I can't believe Brandon Herrera lost. What was it? 407 votes. Mainstream media is real quiet today about that runoff. Yeah, but isn't that close enough to get a recount? I mean, I did see he lost only 400 votes, but shouldn't there be a recount with that close of a vote? Shouldn't there be a recount? I would think. John Jones says Rob Johnson, more like Dick Johnson. The Angry Badger. Hey, Jeremy, thanks for not skipping my name this morning when you read the Mercante list. Hail the 199. Hey, of course, brother. Shout out to you, man. Ad Victorium says Charisma eats Ben's corn the long way. Fantastic Mr. Knox says Rob Johnson gets a chubby over Hillary Clinton. Dingus says Beardo just did his whole intro muted. Tell me that's not true. Tell me that's not true. There's no way. There's no way that's true. Vol95 says, Jeremy, if you haven't looked deeper into Band of Brothers, it's an HBO 10-episode series covering the USA 101st Airborne from Paratrooper School to D-Day in Normandy to Germany's surrender. Superb. I'm going to watch it ASAP. Vault 95 says, this is huge. The future prez and the planet's most popular man is giving interviews to Rumblers and YouTubers now. The CEOs of corporate news outlets must be crying, realizing their industry is dying. Yeah, and you had a YouTuber nearly win last night with Brandon Herrera. So, Modalicious says, I'm not entirely convinced Herrera lost. Yeah, at this point, we have to question every election. We have to question them all, because that's the reality of where we are. I don't trust any of these clowns. Let's see where we're at. All right, we're all caught up there. I gotta. Did Beardo really there's no way he did his intro muted. There's no way. Let's see.
Yes, he was muted.
Oh no.
I just looked. He was shouting everybody out in the crowd and muted the whole time. It was really sad.
Part 2.
Oh, I see it. He's talking.
He's talking now, but
no, like an
video game
experience. But that's all pre-recorded.
Oh, you're talking about
go to where he's actually talking just after.
Okay, here we go. How long did this go? I'm fast forwarding.
It went on a while.
Bitch. Fuck! Son of a bitch.
He's so mad. He's so mad.
Yeah, I just noticed. I just noticed. It's okay, we're doing it live.
Oh my God, that was good. That was good. Thank you, chat, for letting me know. I got tears in my eyes right now. Oh, that was good. That was really fucking good. The Forgotten Man says, clip the whole muted. Let's see, clip the whole muted part of Beardo's intro as the greatest intro. Oh my gosh. Brock just dropped 50 gifted memberships. Holy crap. Brock. You freaking mad lad. Woo! Holy crap, Brock. I was not expecting that, brother. Thank you so much. Swig of water to Brock, the man, the myth, the legend himself. Holy crap, bro. 50 of them. You love to see it. For those that are just tuning in, if you are just tuning in, there is a story that I think not a lot of people are talking about, and a lot of people should be talking about this, because to me, this is one of the biggest stories going right now, and I think that this could be huge, okay? This could be huge. Here we go, right here. Trump considering Elon Musk advisory role as they hold calls several times a month. This is a report from the Wall Street Journal. This is the New York Post that I am reading this from. This is massive. These are the two most important figures in the entire world, Donald Trump and Elon Musk. These are the two most important people in the entire world. This is crazy. Now, I have said for a while that these two guys need to get on the same page. I've been saying this for a while. They've had a bit of a rivalry. There's some animosity between them. But now learning that they are now getting on calls several times a month is a huge, huge piece of news if it is in fact true. Former President Trump is considering appointing Elon Musk to help advise him in the White House after the pair patched up their relationship in recent months. The 45th president has not ironed out the details, and a position might not materialize, the Wall Street Journal reported. But the two have been in talks on how the tech mogul could give formal input on issues like the border, the economy, and preventing voter fraud. Their initial icy relationship has been thawing recently, and Musk, the world's third richest man, is now in direct phone contact with Trump. The pair talk several times a month, according to the outlet. And then it says Musk, alongside billionaire investor Nelson Peltz, who was very involved in the Disney board battle, has also spoken to Trump about an effort Musk launched to convince business leaders not to support President Biden in November. This is huge. So we're going to see if this is, what ultimately comes of this. But I love this idea. And I know there's a lot of people that say, don't trust Elon, blah, 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 blah. It ain't about trusting Elon. It's about the fact that Elon Musk is right now, he is, along with Trump, these are the two most important people in the world. There's no other, that's it. It's these two guys. And that's what makes me happy. And thank you, Ira Brownridge, for the gifted membership. Appreciate that. That's what makes me happy, because Elon, whatever you think of Elon, whatever you think of like Neuralink and all that bullshit, and anything else he's got going on, his decision to purchase Twitter will go down. We will look back on his decision to purchase Twitter as one of the crucial moments, if not the crucial moment, in the lead up to getting Trump back in office. That's exactly what we're going to do at that point in time, because he has turned the entire world of social media upside down. You've got Trump back on Twitter, even though he hasn't tweeted but one time. You've got Alex Jones back. You've got Nick Fuentes back. You've got Jordan B. Peterson back. You've got all of these prominent personalities that were banned from Twitter under Jack Dorsey. You also can just have conversations on Twitter now. Twitter is, honestly, here's the thing. We keep talking about Twitter and how much of a shit show Twitter is. Twitter is basically the Modern Warfare 2 lobby. It's pretty damn close. I mean, it's obviously not that bad, but Twitter's it's pretty crazy. All right? Twitter's a pretty wild place right now. All right? So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. There was a tweet that I wanted to show you really quick. This is so funny. But it's funny for a lot of different reasons, but ultimately it's a fake kind of outrage. If I'm being honest, it's kind of a fake outrage. But the reaction and the response was my favorite part of it. And it's this clip right here. I played this on Tuesday night's main event, all right? This was fantastic. YouTuber Boogie says N-word multiple times on stream. Should he be canceled? He didn't say the N-word, but it's still funny to watch Keemstar's reaction.
Oh my God, Boogie said a word that began with N, and it kind of sounded like Negro, but it's not. That means he said it. They're fucking insane.
What the fuck
Look
did you just say?
at him in chat. Look at him. Negro. You can say Negro.
Hey! No, you can't. Shh. Wings. Shh. Don't say that fucking word ever again.
That's not me. That's not me, motherfucker.
I'm telling you to be quiet.
You say
Stop.
That? Okay. I won't.
What the fuck?
That's Boogie. You're calling him Wings.
No, I'm telling Wings to be quiet so I can explain to Boogie, shut the fuck up. Bro.
When did that word become not PC? Why's that word not PC?
You just said the N-word. That's the
Negro.
N-word.
Negro.
Stop saying that. Stop saying it.
Okay.
That is
It's the Latin word for black.
Oh my God.
That's a different. The N-word's a different word.
Oh my God.
The N-word's a different word.
We're getting shut down. We're getting shut down. This show's over with. Are you really?
I'm looking at it in the dictionary right now.
Are you really that dumb?
It's not offensive. It's not offensive. That's not an offensive word.
Yes, it is.
Since when?
Bro, oh my God.
They called the Negro College League.
Okay.
In sports. That's what they call that.
Fuck you.
Oh my God.
I just like the chaos of the whole situation. I just like the chaos of it. It was so funny. Oh my God, just watching the whole like shit show. It's the Lol Cal podcast. Like that's all it is. Oh my gosh, man, it was so funny to watch that play out. And how Boogie just kept saying it and kept saying it. And yes, Boogie is still alive. For many of those wondering, yes, Boogie is still alive. Holy crap. Funny as hell. My goodness. All right, I guess chat, you know I like you. Okay? We know we love the chat, okay? We love the chat. And we need our daily dose of Alina Habba, right? So here we go. Check it out.
Listen, but the Biden administration's not responsible for this trial. How can you say the Biden administration's not responsible for this trial? It's a state trial. It's Alvin Bragg. Whether you think there's a political motive for him, it's not connected to the DOJ. I mean, Shannon, the feds passed on these election charges.
Shannon, you should look at how many logs they have of state officials, Letitia James, Fannie Willis, visiting the White House, and then tell me that this is not a Biden trial. I don't care.
The feds pass on this case is the point I'm making.
Right. The feds pass on this case. Also, DA Cy Vance passed on this case, and
years ago, and then it came back.
And Bragg passed on this case. You know when it came back? When he decided to run for office. So tell me how that's not an indication that Joe Biden, who just sent his campaign down here with Robert De Niro yesterday, isn't a part of this. Frankly, any question that we had of that was squashed yesterday. And if you have even more concerns about whether he's involved in this, look at the fact that he is publicizing, literally publicizing, for tonight to have a speech if a verdict comes out. That's a sad state of affairs. Meanwhile, our country is falling apart. He's got... Listen.
Bam. And yeah, you're an idiot if you... I refuse to believe that people are not... Like, they know Joe Biden's involved in this. They 1,000% know Joe Biden's involved in this. Of course Joe Biden's involved in this. Like, come on. Everybody knows that. It's nobody breaking news. Everybody knows Joe Biden's involved in this. No, the Joe Biden campaign, because Joe Biden has no idea where he's at. Joe Biden has no idea what's going on. But the Joe Biden campaign. But again, like, look at what they're doing. Like, this is next level stuff. They've gotten assurances from the Joe Biden campaign that they are not going to be affected by this. Well, listen.
That these jurors could do. He just delivered what is being called really the pinnacle of all of this. He said that there is no need to agree on what has occurred. They can disagree on what the crime was among the three choices. Thus, this means that they could split 4-4-4, and the judge would still treat them unanimously. What does that mean?
Yeah. Well, it's really outrageous because in a normal criminal case, every statutory crime has what we call elements of the offense. Like in a bank robbery case, it's, you have to rob. It's got to be a financial institution. You have to show intent. Those are the things the jury has to agree on unanimously that they were proved beyond a reasonable doubt. Here, what we're doing is taking the element that actually makes this a felony, because remember, falsification of records is normally a misdemeanor in New York. What makes it a felony is that you're concealing or committing another crime. And here the judge is telling them they don't have to agree about what the other crime is under circumstances where that not only is what makes this a felony, what makes it a 4-year potential prison penalty rather than a year or less, but it's also what gets us into the courtroom, because if this had been a misdemeanor, the time to bring this case would have lapsed in 2019. So the only reason they're still able to bring this case is because it's a felony, allegedly, and yet now the judge is saying...
This is insane. This is insane. Piano Dean for 20 says, Jeremy, sorry for the off topic, but if you want to see the most psycho WWF promo of all time, please YouTube search Jim Neidhart. Oh, the Anvil. WWF promo 1989. It's only 45 seconds long. I love your take. Well, I'm not going to react to it because WWF or E or any of their old stuff typically gets you hit for any of that stuff. So I don't react to any wrestling on a live stream because they will hit you in a minute and block you worldwide. I never, but I'll check it out privately and follow up with you next stream for sure. But yeah, that's I'll definitely check that out. And I see the wrestling fans are showing up in the chat because wrestling, old school wrestling, is absolutely fantastic. I love OG wrestling, man. It's the best. Okay, let's see. There was one more clip that I wanted to show you guys. Oh, this one.
Assistant Public Defender.
Okay. This is. I can't believe this is real. Okay, I can't. Chat. Many of you've probably seen this, but for those that haven't, I'm about to show you the funniest video you will see all day and maybe all week. Here we go.
Assistant Public Defender Natalie Tate for Mr. Harris, who should be present via Zoom.
Mr. Harris, are you driving?
Actually, I'm pulling into my doctor's office, actually. So just give me 1 second. I'm parking right now.
Great. You stationary?
I'm pulling in right now at this second. Yes, I am.
All right. What are we doing?
Your Honor, we are respectfully requesting an adjournment in this matter, up possibly 2 to 4 weeks that the court would allow.
So maybe I don't understand something. This is a driving while license suspended?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And he was just driving. And he didn't have a license.
Oh.
Is with the charges, Your Honor, yes.
No, I'm looking at his record. He doesn't have a license. He's suspended and he's just driving.
That is correct, Your Honor.
I don't even know why he would do that. So defendant's bond is revoked in this matter. Defendant is to turn himself into the Washington County Jail by 6 p.m. today. Failure to turn himself in will result in a bench warrant with no bond.
Dude, how are you that dumb? How in the hell? That is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Holy shit. That is next level stupidity. Like, now that you've seen it, I know most of you already knew, but now that you've seen it and you know what's going on, watch it again.
Assistant Public Defender Natalie Tate for Mr. Harris, who should be present via Zoom.
Mr. Harris, are you driving?
Actually, I'm pulling into my doctor's office, actually. So just give me 1 second. I'm parking right now.
Great. You stationary?
I'm pulling in right now at this second. Yes, I am.
All right. What are we doing?
Your Honor, we are respectfully requesting an adjournment in this matter, up possibly 2 to 4 weeks that the court would allow.
So maybe I don't understand something. This is a driving while license suspended?
That is correct, Your Honor.
And he was just driving. And he didn't have a license.
Oh.
Is with the charges, Your Honor, yes.
No, I'm looking at his record. He doesn't have a license. he's suspended and he's just driving.
That is correct, Your Honor.
I don't even know why he would do that. So defendant's bond is revoked in this matter. Defendant is to turn himself into the Washington County Jail by 6 p.m. today. Failure to turn himself in will result in a bench warrant with no bond.
That's the greatest thing ever, dude. Holy shit. That was from Colin Rugg over on Twitter posted that video. So it's real. Like, I'm pretty sure, like right here. A man with a suspended license joins Zoom call while driving in his car. This is the funniest video I've seen in a long time. Judge Cedric Simpson can be seen dumbfounded after defendant Corey Harris dialed into the meeting from his car. Simpson, Mr. Harris, are you driving? Harris, actually, I'm pulling into my doctor's office. Actually, just give me 1 second. This is amazing. Oh, man. That is great. Let's see. I might have to respond to that really quick. Okay. So, yeah, good stuff. I mean, you can't make that shit up. You can't make that up. That is absolutely fantastic. Man, oh man. Some of these people, they're going to be voting in November. PJ says, Jeremy, any chance you could open my box tonight? Okay, so yeah, I was waiting for you. So I don't have it here in this office. It's inside. But are you going to be here for my Friday stream, PJ? If you're going to be here for the Friday stream, I'll have it. So let me know if you're going to be here for Friday stream. Ira Brownridge with a D-Day Cobra membership. Thank you. Written Word says there is nothing wrong with saying what is the movie? The American Society of Magical Negroes? Is that what it is? Is it the American something society? What was it? What was that movie that came out? What is it? As a matter of fact, I think Ripa, like Gary put that Ripa video. Is that what it's called? I didn't watch the movie. Let's see here. Is that it? That's it? Yeah.
You want me to tell you?
No, yeah, that's it. But the reason I'm stalling because I'm trying to pull up this video back up because Gary responded with that clip that we always use for that. Right here it is. So if you go back to the video itself, I got to be careful first because this is Twitter. Okay, this is Twitter. Wait, what? Boogie Apollo? I didn't see that, but hang on. It is Twitter. So before I scroll down, I got to be careful. Now, here it is. Here it is. So yeah, Gary responded with with this.
The American Society of Magical Negroes. The American Society of Magical Negroes.
Oh, man. So, yeah, I mean, that's not the N-word. That's not the N-word. And so Keem was like, I don't know if Keem was just like playing that up to be funny or what. McCox says one of the counties that Brendan was trying to win last night had 123 to his opponents and 0 to him, which makes it impossible, and they have to do a recount. I hope so. Lying Dogface Pony Soldier with a gifted membership. Thank you. Lord of the Reese says, Fear the Muted. Fantastic vs. Knox says, sucks to hear Herrera lost. To be fair, his opponent probably panicked and asked for more cash to get votes. Wonder how much was spent in that election. I think his opponent spent it was millions and millions of dollars. Was it like $10 million or something like that? It was an insane amount. Brer says, what up, my... Don't get me saying it. I'm not getting clipped on saying this word. So I'll say a lot of words offline, but I ain't getting that used against me. So you guys can send super chats. I'm not saying it though. Tony Gross says, make me large. Black Tiger says, Tiger, fucking hell. Ira Brownridge says, sad thing is that it was in my county. We took a hit in Washington. How do you say this? Washtenaw County. So is there going to be a recount or not? Is there going to be a recount or not? Jared Armstrong says the judge gets the most ridiculous defendants. This judge. Oh, does he have more? Is there more with this judge? McCog says Chris Benoit said he was sending prayers out to Nick Rekieta and said kicking drugs can be a pain in the next. He knows from experience. God damn it. Fantastic Mr. Knox says suspended driver. I wasn't driving. I was parking. Bird Up says, oh. Modalicious says, hey, my knee, as in your knee, and grow as in growing. But yeah, are they going to do a recount or not? I'm just curious if anybody knows. Does anybody know if there's going to be a recount? And how much more do we have, Jed? Or are we good? Oh, there we go. Christopher, remember message, Joe isn't involved in his own brain. Well, that's true. We know that's true. It should be. Oh, Blind Lawyer says, FYI for Nick, information, I am covering it, and Barnes is covering it, and the rest of the takes, I have big legal flaws in it. Love the show. Thank you, Blind Lawyer. Yeah, there's a lot of people covering the Rekieta stuff, and like I said, I'm all for that. I watch a lot of it. I can't get enough of the content, but I myself will not be covering any of that, at least in the current state that it's in. It's just not something I'm interested in. I think the whole thing is fucking crazy, and it's sad and depressing, and I hate that it's happening. But my only focus for me personally is that the kids are okay, because that's the only thing I care about, to be honest. And so yeah, but it's wild out there, man. There's a lot of drama, there's a lot of fighting, there's a lot of this, there's a lot of that, and I'm just like, are the kids okay? Are the kids okay? That's really all that fucking matters. That's the only thing that matters. To me, that's it. The sole thing. But okay, let's see where we're at. Holy crap, there's like Hypnotic sharing horrible pictures on Twitter. Damn it, Hypnotic. Why would you do that, brother? That was some scary stuff. Okay, so we are at the end of tonight's show. The question is am I going to play Fortnite? Am I going to play Fortnite? I don't know. I don't know. I part of me wants to get some other work done, but part of me wants to play Fortnite. Hal Cocker says, wow, we all need to grow. Is Fortnite the same because of the cars? Yeah, they still have the update. So, Snipe Bitters, more Titanfall. Fortnite is gay. Gay Night, Fortnite is gay. Stream Snipe Beardo, Fortnite. I might. I need to see if anybody's available. And I'll let you guys know. I just don't know if I'm going to play. If I do play, it's on my D-Day Cobra 199 channel. Crazy Landlow, we're testing out Black Ops tomorrow offline to see if we can get everything set up. So we are going to work on that. And if Black Ops works, I'm going to try to do some Black Ops streams this weekend. So again, all my gaming streams happen on my D-Day Cobra 199 channel. So if you guys are interested in that, that's where I'll be. If I do stream tonight, it'll be over there, but I'll have to make a decision in the next 30 minutes. All right, so just subscribe to the D-Day Cobra 199 channel, and if I do go live, it'll be over there, but no event is set up right now. Delusional Man says, play Fortnite D-Day Chokra. Ligma Will says, Jeremy, you have a cool poker face when you pretend to not see what's going on in the chat. Well, I mean, I try to keep up with everything going on in the chat. So, but yeah, there's certain things I'm not going to mention, but I try to see as much as I can in the chat. Because, you know, you guys are awesome and I have a lot of fun with them. So, Jupiter Knight says, my hometown of Del Rio went for Herrera. Well, you got a good hometown. All right, so thank you guys so much. Great stream tonight. Orozco says, where my breeds at? Stop that shit. Stop that shit. All right. But there's a 50-50 chance I'm playing Fortnite tonight. 50-50 chance, okay? You'll know in the next 30 minutes if an event goes up over on my D-Day Cobra 199 channel, okay? I got to make some phone calls and see if anybody's available, and I may just do solos. I'm not sure. But we shall see. But thank you guys. I love you all. I appreciate you all. I'm probably going to do another CobraCast tomorrow because I'm covering the Trump trial. So I might go live depending on how the news cycle is going tomorrow. So keep that in mind. Yeah, because Thursday's not a normal CobraCast day, but I probably will go live. Oh, you know what? Tomorrow's going to be a weird day. So, because there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. So, okay, I might go live tomorrow to cover the Trump stuff. I'll let you guys know. Other than that, thank you all so very much. Really appreciate it. And maybe I'll see some of you on my D-Day Cobra 199 channel. Drop the link in the chat for those that are not subscribed, Eric K, if you have it. Have a great night. Love you all, and we'll talk to you later. Bye, everyone. Okay, so it appears we are playing on my D-Day Cobra 199 channel. I've got the event set up. This is going to raid, so you guys can continue the discussion over there, and I'll be joining in about 30 minutes probably, and I'll probably have some people with me, so we'll see. But I hope to see all of you over there. The people wanted it. The people got it. So I'll see all of you over there on my my gaming channel. So thank you guys. I love you all. I'll see you in a bit. Talk to all of you later. See you in about 30. Bye, everyone.